Good evening, Patriots. What you're witnessing right now is nothing short of a seismic shift in global politics. President Trump and the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer just concluded a historic meeting in the Oval Office that has left the establishment media scrambling. King Charles III has extended an unprecedented second state visit invitation to President Trump, something no other president has ever received. This isn't just diplomatic pleasantries. It's a complete realignment of the global order. As Ukraine peace talks accelerate, President Trump is demonstrating what real leadership looks like on the world stage. The implications are massive, and tonight we'll break down why this matters to every single American. And as we begin 2025, one thing is clear: de-dollarization is accelerating. China and BRICS nations fear President Trump, making them more determined to reduce U.S. dollar dependence, and their secret weapon is gold. China has resumed buying while gold deliberately is underreporting their purchases. And why the secrecy? Well, they recognize gold's global value and ability to withstand economic shocks. It's tangible, reliable, and immune to manipulation. China and the BRICS countries are preparing. They just don't want it known. But this isn't just about nations, it's about you. In a world of shifting economic power, gold is your personal hedge against uncertainty, and Noble Gold Investments can help secure your future. Visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked below. Call that number on the screen, though. 877-646-5347, and with a qualified account, receive 10 1-ounce silver American Eagle coins. That's nextnewsgold.com, linked in the description. Okay, let's get to the huge shakeup at the White House. That's right, Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer just held a historic Oval Office meeting. Major shifts on Ukraine, NATO, trade, a second Trump state visit. This changes everything. Let's break it all down. This was the post we made as it was all happening. Trump officially accepted an invitation from King Charles for a second UK visit. This is unprecedented. The UK is rolling out the red carpet for Trump, even bigger than last time. Global alliances are shifting fast. Starmer thanked Trump for changing the conversation on Ukraine, paving the way for peace talks. Trump said, "We are advanced on a deal. We're very advanced on a deal. Russia has been acting very well," and Trump is remaking and shaking the global order. Trump confirms that Zelenskyy is coming to the White House on Friday. "We are signing a very important agreement. It's a backstop. We'll have a lot of workers in Ukraine dealing with the rare earth minerals and resources." This is big news. Trump dropped a bombshell on NATO and Ukraine. No NATO membership. It's not happening. Biden floated it, and then the guns started. That was one of the primary reasons for the war. Trump is shutting it down. On Putin, he said, "I've known him a long time. I don't believe he will violate his word. We had to go through the Russia hoax together." That was a rigged deal against both of us. The real conclusion was inside the U.S. Trump is calling it like it is. And Trump said this: "We must make a deal first on peacekeeping." He said, "We're close, but we have to finish negotiations before discussing peacekeeping. We are talking with Russia and Ukraine." Trump is doing what Biden never could, delivering results. And trade and tariffs, Trump slams the EU, stating the EU has hammered us. 20% VAT lawsuits against Apple and Google blocking our agriculture, $350 million trade deficit, not good. Trump is going after Europe's trade abuses head on. No more weak deals, folks. Starmer distances the UK from the EU on trade, stating our trade is fair and balanced. In fact, the US has a surplus with the UK. We're different from the EU. This is big. The UK is siding closer to Trump than Brussels. EU is panicking. And now Trump is on the UK-US military alliance. The British don't need much help, but if they do, I'll always stand strong with the British. That's what he said. This is a strong statement. Trump is reaffirming the special relationship with the UK on his terms. In the AUK Security Pact, Trump initially forgot what it was, but later said, "Yes, we'll discuss it. We've had a great relationship with Australia. This could signal a major shift in Indo-Pacific strategy, so keep watching this space." And on the Diego Garcia base, Trump said, "We're talking about a 140-year lease, a very strong lease. I think we'll go along with it." UK, US are strengthening their strategic foothold in the Indian Ocean, another power move. And then there was a star-breaking story, Trump heading back to the UK. King Charles personally inviting Trump for an unprecedented second state visit. The Trump reset in US-UK relation is full steam ahead. And of course, the press conference happened further just shortly thereafter. We've got the full We got the full Oval Office meeting. You can go to our X account and you can watch it yourself. But we have some clips here lined up just for you so we can break it all down, what we just talked about. Here is the moment when they talked about, POTUS said it's a great honor to have Keir Starmer in the Oval Office.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Starmer in the Oval Office. It's a very special place, and he's a special man. And the United Kingdom is a wonderful. This is a wonderful country that I know very well. I'm there a lot, and I'll be going there, and we expect to see each other in the near future. We'll be announcing it, but. We're going to be discussing many things today. We'll be discussing Russia-Ukraine. We'll be discussing trade and lots of other items. And I think we can say that we're going to be getting along on every one of them. We've had a tremendous relationship. And frankly, the Prime Minister and I have met twice before, and we get along very famously, as you would say. And I look forward to it very much. We look forward to the day and the meeting. We'll be having a luncheon after this, and then another work session, and I believe we're going to have a press conference at the end. So I look forward to it. And Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
There we go. We got more though. We also have from the press conference. Let's take a look. This is them, the Vice President, talking about the special relationship.
The UK. In his remarks at the Munich Security Conference, Vice President Vance condemned free speech violations in the UK, particularly. Could you respond? What is your
I have an idea. We have the man right here. Come on. Let's go, JD. We're putting you on stage.
Great. Yeah, look, I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our European allies. But we also know that there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British. Of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
And I'm sure it was a great lunch. Here's President Trump on the potential peace deal.
That way, it's trust and verify. Let's call it that. And I think we both can be that way. You have to verify because you never know what's going to happen. I know a lot of people that you would say no chance that they would ever deceive you, and they're the worst people in the world. I know others that you would guarantee they would deceive you, and you know what? They're 100% honorable. So you never know what you're getting. No, I have confidence that if we make a deal, it's going to hold. Trust and
if we make a deal, it is going to hold. Let's keep going. Here we have the Prime Minister talking about the countries who have been bound together. Yeah, but we did fight a revolution to shake off the shackles of the crown, right?
We will strengthen, and of course our countries have been bound together for a very long time now. The closest alliance, I think, of any two countries when it comes to prosperity and security. And I know that together we will strengthen that even further. And on issues like Ukraine, thank you for changing the conversation to bring about the possibility that now we can have a peace deal. And we want to work with you to make sure that peace deal is enduring, that it lasts, that it's a deal that goes down as a historic deal. That nobody breaches, and we'll work with you to make sure that that absolutely happens. And of course,
but you know what's so disgusting about this? It's like, does it really take President Trump to get into office to have the peace conversation beginning? I mean, all we did during the entire Biden administration was continually throwing more and more money and arms at the situation with no end in sight. How come nobody had a goal of peace for that entire Biden administration? Why? Is it because they needed to send all that money to Ukraine so they could kick it back to the weapons contractors in the United States? I don't know. Here's the invitation that Trump received to meet the king. But remember, we're America. We bow to no one.
Say what that... He's a beautiful man, a wonderful man, and we appreciate it. I've known him, gotten to know him very well, actually. Yeah. First term and now second term. Perhaps you'd like to say what that very important paragraph...
Yes, so this is a letter from His Majesty the King. It's an invitation for a second state visit. This is really special. This has never happened before. This is unprecedented. And I think that just symbolises the strength of the relationship between us. So this is a very special letter. I think the last state visit was a tremendous success. His Majesty the King wants to make this even better than that. So this is truly historic, an unprecedented second state visit, and he wants to talk that through with you.
And that says at Windsor. That's
Yes.
really something.
Yes. What I haven't got yet is your answer. I do need to.
The answer is yes. On behalf of our wonderful First Lady, Melania, and myself, the answer is yes, and we look forward to being there and honoring the King and honoring really your country. Your country is a fantastic country, and it'll be our honor to be there. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. I shall happily take that back to His Majesty.
Yeah, Keir Starmer, you can kneel before the crown, but we won't. Yeah, we'll show up, but hey, that's how it is. We've got this. This is President Trump on the problems with the EU.
I've had problems with the EU because, and we're not talking about, we happen to have a great relationship with you, but we did have, and we do have problems with the EU because they've tariffed us. They do it in the form of a VAT tax, which is about 20%, and many other taxes. They sue our companies. They sued Apple, got 16 or 17 billion dollars, which was, I think, totally a ridiculous decision. And they're suing Google for a lot of money. They're suing a lot of other companies, and we don't like the way they're treating our people now. We don't like the way they're treating our companies. They sell us cars. We don't sell them cars. They don't take our cars. They don't take much of our agriculture. And we have a deficit with them of about $350 billion. So I wouldn't say it's been such a great relationship personally, but...
Now, I'm going to pause this. They don't take our agriculture because it's all GMO garbage. Hopefully RFK Jr. will fix that.
Other people did because it's politically correct to say that it's been good, but it hasn't been good. And we're going to change that. And we are going to have reciprocal tariffs. We're not going to have tariffs. We're going to have reciprocal. Whatever they charge us, we're going to charge them, which for many years, foolishly, I would have done that, but then all of a sudden we had COVID and we had other things to think about. So it took me a little while to get that on. But we had, in my first 4 years, we had the greatest economy in the history of, I think, the world, but certainly in the history of our country. I think we're going to have that again. But the EU was very, very tough on us from the standpoint of trade. Yeah.
Well, that's all about to change, folks. Let's keep going. We got more from the EU. A reporter asked, does this mean you're looking at sanctions on the UK?
Good discussion.
So does that mean there won't be any sanctions on the UK then?
We'll have to take a look. I mean, we're going to have a good discussion today, and we have some very talented people on the other side, and we have some people that probably aren't as talented to them, but they're pretty good. Marco, what do you think? Our people are pretty good. And no, we're going to have a good discussion, and we'll be talking about that.
Let's keep going. Here's the UK Prime Minister praising President Trump for the peace negotiations.
The deal, if we get it, is going to be hugely important. I don't think it would have happened if the space hadn't been created for it by yourself. But if there's a deal in, we've got to make sure it's a deal that lasts, that is not temporary, that lasts, and that's why we need to make sure that it's secure, and we've lent in and said we'll play our part, and we've talked and we will talk about how we work with yourself, Mr. President, to ensure that this deal is something which is not violated, because it's very important that if there is a deal, we keep it. The deal...
Yeah, we need to keep the peace deal going. Let's keep going. We've got more on the historic Oval Office meeting. Here is the moment when a reporter asked about the common ground with the Prime Minister.
Mr. President, what do you get on most? What's your common ground with Keir Starmer? Because you're both from different political backgrounds.
It's true. I think I can say this because we've known each other now really for a little while. This is not our first meeting, as you know. He loves his country, and so do I. That's our common theme. He loves his country, and I love our country. And we also have two countries that have gotten along for the longest period of time. Number one ally on each side. And we have good. France and Australia, we have a lot of good ones. but we've had a long-time relationship, a long time, hundreds of years, and we like each other, frankly, and we like each other's country, and we love our country. And I think that's our common thread.
Mr. President, what do you get on most?
We love our country. That's the common thread. Let's keep going, getting you all of the nitty-gritty right down in the Oval Office today. Here is, let's see, we've got the special relationship. This is the VP. Let's listen about this.
The man right here.
Oh, no, we just played that. Here's Bill O'Reilly. He was explaining to Chris Cuomo in Barney times why President Trump trashed the Ukrainian President Zelenskyy. Let's listen to what Bill O'Reilly had to say. I was on his show, remember?
On Sunday. Explain to me how bashing Ukraine and talking about them like you were really talking about the truth about Russia helps this situation.
Okay. So you obviously didn't read my column on...
I didn't read it, but I can tell you it's a negotiating tactic. Okay? By bashing Ukraine, President Trump puts Zelenskyy on the defense. Okay? And makes him come back begging for more. It's very simple. Let's see what O'Reilly has to say. Let's see if I'm right.
Sunday, or my message of the day on Monday. Putin holds all the cards. So you're going in to a negotiation, you have no strengths at all. United States and Europe. Putin holds every card. Biden couldn't even get him to pick up the phone. Did you know that? Putin wouldn't take Biden's calls for 2 years. Trump wants Putin at the table. That's what this mineral deal was all about. That'll be signed tomorrow. It's a good deal for Ukraine and the United States because it puts the United States physically in Ukraine. Makes it harder for bad Vlad to misbehave. But anyway, the overarch is, if I can get Vlad to the table, I can reason with him. And Vlad is suffering, true, but Putin does not care about his people at all. Cares about himself. That's it. So the strategy is flatter him, make provocative statements about his enemy, and co-opt him into stopping this savage war. That is the strategy. Will it work? I think it might.
Explain. And the fact that Zelenskyy is coming in on Friday says it all. So was I right? Well, partially. By trashing Zelenskyy, he was appeasing Putin, bringing Putin closer to the table. Maybe so. Here is Real America's Voice. Here's Mike Benz talking about the Brits want us waging their war against Russia. He details how we have been Britain's pawn in this conflict. Let's listen in.
That, but the fact is Keir Starmer's chief of staff is a man named Morgan McSweeney. Morgan McSweeney was the founder of CCDH, the Center for Countering Digital Hate, whose own donor impact reports, it's been reported, and we have all the screenshots from Paul Thacker, the investigative journalist who obtained these, that their number one priority item was to kill Musk's Twitter. See, Keir Starmer's defense was, listen, yeah, we censor our own citizens here in the UK, but it's not going to affect you in the US. And they know damn well that's a lie. CCDH, which again was created by the man who is currently the chief of staff of Keir Starmer, the gatekeeper for anyone who wants access to Keir Starmer. It was his chief of staff who created CCDH, whose own top goal is to kill the U.S. Social media giant X. And then in addition to that, in the donor reports, it showed how their goal was to impact U.S. policy about the regulation of speech, to get the U.S. regulators and U.S. universities and thought leadership folks to adopt what they call the STAR framework, which is basically a censorship framework with a little acronym attached. They detailed their meetings, their policy meetings with Senator Amy Klobuchar and other high-ranking U.S. figures. They are funded directly by Keir Starmer's UK Foreign Office, their version of the State Department, in order to influence U.S. policy to get America to censor what the Brits want us to censor. For example, the Brits want us waging their war against Russia. The great game of the UK against Russia has been raging for 175 years, including all the way back to the Crimean War in the 1800s. The fact is we have been Britain's pawn in many respects in this conflict about Ukraine and Russia, because London money juices U.S. politics. It juices the D.C. networks, this haloed transatlantic relationship. Well, enough of that. It was Keir Starmer's government who actually sent a delegation to work directly with the Biden administration to have a transatlantic coordinating network to jointly censor things in the U.S. and U.K. It was the U.S. Justice Department who funded Hate Lab, which the U.K. Metropolitan Police uses to do scan and ban of hate speech in the U.K. I can go on and on and on. In those coordination meetings, the U.K. digital office actually preached to the Biden administration when they flew to the White House to do this transatlantic censorship meeting that the UK online harms bill would be a new novel legal innovation to be able to censor domestic political opponents, both in the UK, and it would have a whiplash effect on the Trump movement here in the US.
And of course, it failed. President Trump won, and here we are. Now we have this. This is from Rapid Response. This is from 3 hours ago. Secretary Scott Bessent talking about being a deficit hawk. Let's check in.
I'm a deficit hawk, but we are not going to be able to do this all at once. We are left with a terrible situation, 6.7%, 6.9% deficits to GDP, and we're going to bring this down slowly, reprivatize the American economy, reinvigorate the regulated banking system and the private sector. I'm a deficit hawk.
Let's keep going. Here's more on the Trump tax cuts that they're working on.
Always say changing the growth trajectory of a nation changes the debt dynamics. And as I always say, I am America's leading bond salesman, and I have a great story to tell. We're going to get this tax bill done, and that will increase growth. That we are committed to common sense in government. That the more efficiency, rooting out waste, fraud, and inefficiency, and so we're going to bring costs down, revenues up, and that's a fantastic growth scenario. So we'll make the tax cuts permanent, we'll bring energy costs down, and Larry, as you know better than anyone, one of the biggest costs on the American people the past few years have just been these out-of-control regulations that the previous administration put in. So in Trump's first term, the goal was to eliminate 3 regulations for every one that was added. I believe it worked out to 7 were cut for every one that was added. And the goal for this administration is to cut 10 regulations for every one that is added. And I think we can end up with a lot less friction cost, and that ends up in consumers' pockets.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Make America great again. Cut the regulations. J.D. Vance confronting Keir Starmer to his face over free speech in the meeting. There's been multiple infringements on free speech. Here we have Don Wooten. Keir Starmer lied to the world media in front of Donald Trump, saying we've had free speech for a very long time in the UK, and it will last for a very long time. I'm very proud of our history there. But of course, you've seen, as you see on screen, grandmas are in jail for Facebook posts. And check this out. Do you know what's happening on Friday? Liberals think they're going to win. I don't think so. Check this out.
In case you haven't heard, this coming Friday is a total economic blackout. The idea here is that we as normal people, we do have power, and the power is through our dollars. So you spend $0 on Friday, February 28th. You don't go grocery shopping. You don't get gas. You don't buy anything on Amazon. You don't go to fast food. You don't go to Starbucks. You literally spend $0 this coming Friday for a full 24 hours. Again, this is Friday, February 28th. There's going to be more of these, but this is the first major one. So I hope you'll be willing to participate, because we do have power. The power is through our wallets.
Yeah, and the power is actually in the majority, which we are in, and you guys can sit there and come up with all your crazy schemes all you want. all that's going to do. Folks watching right now, go out and spend everything. Go to Starbucks, go to every place she just mentioned and get some coffee, do some shopping and push back on this ridiculous stuff. We're in the majority, and they think they can control the economy by holding back. I don't think so. They will not win. Okay, we've got some more. We have to get into, let's see, here's Dan Bongino. Okay, let's go to the press conference that was today. President Trump and Keir Starmer's joint press conference. Let's break it down. It was a historic meeting between the U.S. and U.K. It just wrapped. Trump accepted a second U.K. visit. Here's everything you need to know. He called the U.K. visit like no other. UK relationship like no other. Confirmed Churchill's bust is back in the Oval Office. We're keeping this alliance stronger than ever. Working on trade, defense, securing a lasting peace in Ukraine. Trump said we're closer than ever to a ceasefire. His calls with Putin and Zelenskyy have made progress, and tomorrow he'll be meeting Zelenskyy and signing a deal. We got this. Under Biden, more money. Trump said under Biden, $300+ billion was sent to Ukraine with no plan for repayment. Well, guess what? Money is coming back to America. Trump says under his deal, U.S. taxpayers will be reimbursed through Ukraine's resource exports. America First is coming back. All those billions of dollars we sent, unbelievable. But how much really ended up back in the pockets and bank accounts of the Democrat lobbyists and the war machine. On the peacekeeping, Trump said before we talk about peacekeepers, we need to talk peace first. That's what he's working on. The goal is to stop the killing, build a lasting agreement. Starmer's commitment, so we're stepping up in Europe. We're increasing defense spending to the highest level since the Cold War to stand with our allies. Trump responding, NATO countries should be spending 4 to 5% GDP on defense. Trump is making NATO pay again, like he did during the first administration. The question asked about UK putting troops in Ukraine, Starmer said the UK is ready to put boots on the ground if it ensures a lasting peace. We'll work with Trump, NATO, and our allies to guarantee security in the region. Now, this makes me nervous because anytime you have UK or even US troops in a peacekeeping situation, they become targets. And then what happens? The NATO clause is activated and we go into a full-blown World War III scenario. This is something, obviously, we do not want. So this does make me nervous about any talk of boots on the ground. So we got to watch very closely about what happens next. President Trump slamming the EU on trade, talking about how they scammed us for years, and now that's ending. We are making trade fair again. On the UK trade deal, he says working on a new deal with the UK. No more Obama-era back-of-the-line nonsense. J.D. Vance and UK negotiators are already working on accelerating talks. Starmer said the UK, this is on AI, the U.S. and U.K. are the only Western nations with trillion-dollar tech sectors. Will push for AI partnership, quantum computing, deeper collaboration in space exploration. And Trump accepting King Charles' invite. This is the second UK state visit, never happened before, and the UK is ready to roll out the red carpet. London is going to be huge. Man, I would love to be there to see that. Maybe I will. You know, we have press credentials now. Maybe we'll get a free ride on Air Force One. Wouldn't that be fun? And on tariffs and economy, we had the best economy in history under my first term. China paid us hundreds of billions because of my tariffs. Will bring back American manufacturing and more. Securing energy in Ukraine. He's got a mineral deal on the table. Locking in America as a major player in the energy sector. Game changer. Yes, that is huge. No NATO. Trump said Ukraine and NATO not happening. That's what started this war. Will help end it. We are not escalating. Peace must last, and that's the priority. He did speak about Putin. I've known Putin for a long time. I believe he'll keep his word on the deal. We do not want endless war. Trump on the global economy. Europe is scrambling to catch up. Their economies are struggling while ours is booming. Starmer agrees UK trade is balanced, not like the EU. Trump reasserting U.S. dominance, something Joe Biden could never do. He said, we'll never be a laughingstock again. We'll use tariffs, trade deals, energy dominance to make America richer, stronger, and more independent. Biden's days of selling us out are over. Trump is talking about bringing back manufacturing, automotive chips, pharmaceuticals, bringing it all back. Tariffs will force companies to build in America And Starmer says the UK is pushing for more domestic industry and jobs. America has Britain's back. Trump says the British have never needed much help, but if they do, we will be there. In the historic press conference, UK trade deal coming, massive Ukraine energy minerals deal, NATO funding boost, European peacekeeping talks, King Charles invites Trump to the UK, changing everything, and we've got the full press conference if you want to watch it on our X account. But let's get into the clips now. These are the moments here. This is the formal moment at the press conference about the invitation by King Charles.
Has never, very importantly, I was just notified by letter from King Charles that he's extended through the Prime Minister a historic second state visit to the United Kingdom. And that's a great honor because it's never happened before. One person has never been extended that honor, and I really do call it an honor, but it's not for me, it's for our country. It's respect for our country. So I just want to thank you, and I want to thank King Charles. Thank you very much, and we accept.
We accept the invitation. Here is President Trump talking about the progress towards peace.
Tomorrow, the progress toward peace will continue when President Zelenskyy visits the White House. He'll be here tomorrow in the early part of the day, and we'll be signing a historic agreement that will make the United States a major partner in developing Ukraine's minerals and rare earths and oil and gases, and we have a great understanding. I think it's going to be great for Ukraine. We're going to be at the site, and we'll be digging. We'll be digging. Dig we must. A big utility in New York contacted us, and they used to have a sign, dig we must, and we will be digging. But much of the European aid to Ukraine has been sent in the form of loans for which they expect to be paid back, and we didn't have that honor under the Biden administration. He sent money, or just sent it, money after money after money, and never had any knowledge of ever seeing it back. Maybe $300 to $350 billion, but under the breakthrough agreement, very unusual, which everyone said was difficult to get, but it's really very good for Ukraine and very good for us. The American taxpayers will now effectively be reimbursed for the money and hundreds of billions of dollars poured into helping Ukraine defend itself, which by and of itself is a very worthy thing to do. We've paid far more than any other country, and with most of our support, it's been paid in military, the finest weapons anywhere in the world. This includes vast amounts of military hardware, ammunition, and various other things that we now have to start rebuilding our own stockpiles. Additionally, the minerals agreement will provide the basis for a more sustainable future relationship between the United States and Ukraine, and thus stimulate the long-term prosperity that will help the Ukrainians rebuild their country. It's been demolished. Tomorrow.
And we have more. Here is here's the UK Prime Minister talking about President Trump.
Winston Churchill. It's good to know that the United Kingdom has a true friend in the Oval Office. And it was so good to see the bust of Winston Churchill back in its rightful place just a moment ago.
Winston Churchill back in the Oval Office. Here is the President of the United States talking about the trade agreement.
Friendship, it's working together. I believe that we'll once again demonstrate the power of our country's unique friendship. This is indeed a unique friendship. It's been many years, and I think it's only gotten stronger, and we will make sure that it stays that way. We're going to have a great trade agreement one way or the other. We're going to end up with a very good trade agreement for both countries, and we're working on that as we speak. I think we'll have the confines. I think we'll have something maybe even in terms of possibilities agreed to very shortly. JD's working on it, Vice President, and Scott, and I'm just looking at this all from Mike. You're going to work on it. Everyone's going to work on it. We'll see if we can do something pretty quickly, but we're going to make some great trade agreements with the UK and with the Prime Minister, and it'll happen very quickly. So I just want to thank you again, and please thank King Charles for the invite, and I look forward to you giving our acceptance on behalf of the United States of America. Thank you very much, sir.
That's always nice to see them shaking hands. Here we have a tremendous UK Prime Minister to Trump, a moment of tremendous opportunity.
Mr. President, I welcome your deep and personal commitment to bring peace and to stop the killing. You've created a moment of tremendous opportunity to reach a historic peace deal, a deal that I think would be celebrated in Ukraine and around the world. That is the prize. Mr. President, I welcome...
Peace is coming back to the world. Here is a reporter getting cut off trying to get the two leaders into a division.
Today, but we didn't.
That's enough.
Canada.
Thank you. Please. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes. Thank you.
Hi, Natasha Clark from LBC.
Okay, then we have the progress towards peace will continue.
President Zelenskyy.
President Trump.
The progress toward peace will continue when President Zelenskyy visits the White House. He'll be here tomorrow in the early part of the day, and we'll be signing a historic agreement that will make the United States a major partner in developing Ukraine's minerals and rare earths and oil and gases, and we have a great understanding. I think it's going to be great for Ukraine. We're going to be at the site, and we'll be digging. We'll be digging. Dig we must. A big utility in New York contacted us, and they used to have a sign, dig we must, and we will be digging. But much of the European aid to Ukraine has been sent in the form of loans for which they expect to be paid back, and we didn't have that honor under the Biden administration. He sent money, or just sent it, money after money after money, and never had any knowledge of ever seeing it back. Maybe $300 to $350 billion, but under the breakthrough agreement, very unusual, which everyone said was difficult to get, but it's really very good for Ukraine and very good for us. The American taxpayers will now effectively be reimbursed for the money and hundreds of billions of dollars poured into helping Ukraine defend itself, which by and of itself is a very worthy thing to do. We've paid far more than any other country, and with most of our support, it's been paid in military, the finest weapons anywhere in the world. This includes vast amounts of military hardware, ammunition, and various other things that we now have to start rebuilding our own stockpiles. Additionally, the minerals agreement will provide the basis for a more sustainable future relationship between the United States and Ukraine, and thus stimulate the long-term prosperity that will help the Ukrainians rebuild their country. It's been demolished.
Okay, what else have we got here? We've got, oh my goodness, reporter, do you support Article 5 of the NATO treaty?
Are you concerned that, do you support Article 5 of the NATO treaty? And are you concerned that it might be triggered if European peacekeeping forces end up in Ukraine?
Boom. Boom. Do you hear that question? That's exactly my concern that I raised about having boots on the ground. Holy cow. Okay, let's hear. Let's get the answer here.
Peacekeeping forces end up in Ukraine.
I support it. I don't think we're going to have any reason for it. I think we're going to have a very successful peace, and I think it's going to be a long-lasting peace, and I think it's going to happen hopefully quickly. If it doesn't happen quickly, it may not happen at all. And we want it for two reasons. Number one, I want to see on a humane basis, I want to see soldiers stop getting shot, because largely it's soldiers now. Towns have been obliterated, but it's largely that. And I don't want to pay billions and billions and billions of dollars, nor does the Prime Minister or anybody else, on a senseless war that should have never happened, and we're going to get it taken care of. But I think it's going to be a peace that's going to be long-lasting.
Do you...
Wow, how cool is that, man? That's exactly my concern about these people being targets. Here's the president, more.
And we look forward to welcome you in the United Kingdom. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. What a beautiful accent. I would have been president 20 years ago if I had that accent. Thank you very much.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay, here's more talk on tariffs from the president.
Billions of dollars. I use tariffs to even things up. And in particular with China, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars and we had no inflation. And it's a myth. It's a myth that's put out there by foreign countries that really don't like paying tariffs, and especially to even up. So we've been treated badly by a lot. We're using tariffs. And I find, and you just have to look at the numbers, but I find that it's not about inflation. It's about fairness. And the inflation for us has not existed. And I don't think it's going to exist. We're going to bring our car industry back. We're going to bring our chips back. We're going to bring so many things back to our country, including pharmaceuticals and drugs. And the thing that's going to get us there is tariffs. And I say often it's my favorite word in the dictionary, but I always preface that by saying now, because I got into a lot of trouble with the fake news where they say that's not good. So I say God, love, family, wife, they're all my favorite words, but tariff is about number 4 or 5 on the list. But I will tell you, it's going to make our country rich, and it's going to stop us from being a laughing stock all over the world, because we have been taken advantage of like no country has ever been taken advantage of. Thank you.
Yeah, and we've been taken advantage of because we've had inept leadership. Yeah. But that is all changing. President Trump, press conference, history being made today. So the ramifications of today's Trump-Starmer summit will echo for generations. We're seeing a complete reset of the special relationship between America and Britain. Prime Minister Starmer's acknowledgement that Trump has changed the conversation on Ukraine, it speaks volumes about the president's diplomatic prowess. And while the Biden administration funneled billions into a forever war, Trump is leveraging America's strength to force an actual peace deal. And tomorrow, President Zelenskyy arrives at the White House to sign a historic agreement, making America a major partner in Ukraine's mineral development. This is not just diplomacy, it is strategic genius that protects American interests while stabilizing Europe. So the question is, why did the previous administration choose perpetual conflict over peace? Drop your comment below. And before you do, grab your Next News Network hat and show your support for real America First foreign policy. It's linked down below.